Okay, hey everybody, Tekking101 here. I'm going to do something a little bit unusual today. We're going to do a discussion on a particular part of the chapter before we actually get to the review. I am working like all weekend, and I have no idea when I'm going to get this review out. And also, we got dropped on a pretty heavy explanation on how Tsukishima's power works to counter Yhwach's, and a lot of people have a lot of questions about it, and I've been sitting up for like the last 3 hours racking my brain trying to like make the dots connect, and not all of them have. But I have an explanation, at least somewhat of an explanation on my end, and I wanted to share it with you because this video might take like 15 to 20 minutes to explain all this shit. So get ready for a lecture, and I didn't want to put that in the review. I didn't want to stop. I know I make the reviews kind of on the long side, but I didn't want to like, okay, everyone, let's stop the review for 15 minutes while I explain all of the shit about Tsukishima's power. So I thought it would be better to make just a discussion video about it, and then I'll touch upon it in the review, but I'll mostly just link back to this video, you know, to the actual explanation, the whole, you know, reason what I'm saying here. Okay. So, before we get into this, let's just cover really briefly what happened in the chapter, okay? So we have Tsukishima arriving on the battlefield. He stabs Ichigo with his Fullbring Book of the End, and he implants the memory in Ichigo that his Bankai Tensuzangetsu is not broken. And previously, it was unable to be repaired by Orihime. Her Santen Keshun could not reject it. But now that he altered the memories of Ichigo and implanted that it's not broken in Ichigo's mind, Orihime was able to repair it. And it seems that Tsukishima's power is now a perfect counter for Yhwach. I've received this theory before a lot. I just never made a video about it because I really didn't want to believe it, because we'll get to that in a second. But let's just have a brief overview of Book of the End, because it's been a while since we've seen Tsukishima, you know? Okay, so Book of the End is Tsukishima's Fullbring, and what it does is, it's his bookmark originally, and then it transforms into a sword. When he cuts people with the sword, he can either do one of two things. He can either change memories around, alter them, or he can add whole new memories, with him included. So, what he did with Ichigo's sisters, for instance, Yuzu and Karin, when he stabbed them, he implanted the new memory that Tsukishima was their cousin that they just never saw. Not a memory that normally existed, he just implanted it into them. And when he cut Orihime, he changed the memory around, basically replacing her brother Sora Inoue with Tsukishima, which is kind of creepy when you really think about it. So those are the things he can do. He can't, and this is something that Kubo seems to be conflating the same sometimes. I don't know what Kubo's perspective on this is. I don't know if this all makes sense in his head. Sometimes he appears to be conflating it with past manipulation, as in he can actually change events that already occurred. But from what I see, he can't. It's not like, alright, here's an example. I have this apple slice. Okay, I take a bite out of it. Okay. This apple slice is now taking a bite out of, okay? Half an apple slice. Tsukishima comes up. Stabs me with Book of the End. Ugh. And then he implants the memory of, you did not eat that apple, into my mind. And then, alright, does the apple magically go back to being restored? No, the apple stays the same way it was, except I don't have the memory of it. I'll look at it and be like, oh, I was going to take a bite out of this, but it's disgusting. Someone took a bite out of it already. I don't know what happened, but it still fucking happened. I think what Kubo might be trying to do sometimes with this is he's sort of like, it's sort of like if a tree falls in the woods, is anyone around to hear it? If no one's around to perceive the sound, does the sound exist? If no one is around, if no one has a memory of something happening, how does anyone know it actually happened a specific way? I mean, you can defer it. You know, I can look at this apple slice and say, somebody very clearly took a bite out of this apple slice, but since I have no memory of it, since no one else has any memory of it, I don't really know what happened to it. Maybe he's trying to do that, and I know that gets kind of confusing sometimes. So, how does this work with Yhwach's power? Well, Yhwach's ability is, the example he gave to Ichigo is he had the grains of sand, and he was like, Ichigo, you can change the track of fate. All humans can. You're always deciding to do this instead of that. You know, go left, go right, or like you're always shifting the track of fate. But, here's the thing, I get to see all of the track. As soon as you decide to go right, You know, you can't go back. That track is set, and I have perfect omnipotence over that. I have perfect view over that entire track. And it's through that future sight that I can basically do whatever I want. As long as I can see what track you're on, you're fucked. I'm all powerful. There's not a goddamn thing you can do to stop me. Mostly because I am God, but that's beside the point. So, he saw the track that Ichigo went on when he went into his Bankai. And he had perfect... Okay, that's the track Ichigo's on. So, through the future, he broke Tensa Zangetsu. And it stayed broke. You know, because that's the future he set. He locked it in. It's set in stone now. And that's... if you are anybody else, if you are pretty much anyone else except for Tsukishima, that's an all-powerful lockdown. You can't do shit about it. Okay, because you can't go back and change the past already. It's already set in stone. But you're Tsukishima, and you can shift the track that you went on. So, I went right, and that track of fate's that way, but now with Tsukishima's powers, like, oh wait, no, you didn't go right, you went left. And he cuts you, and he plants it in you, and this is why I kind of see Kubo might be conflating past manipulation and memory manipulation into the same thing, because from Ichigo's perspective, it didn't get broken, the track of fate is shifted, and that whole extra branch that came off that one decision just shatters apart, because the whole thing just crumbles, you know? It's like a Jenga tower. You know, you pulled the fucking thing out of the bottom and the whole thing fucking collapsed. Yhwach no longer has omnipotence. Yhwach no longer has ultimate view over the track of fate because Tsukishima changed something. So it's no longer set in stone. Now, the same thing with the apple, just because Tsukishima implanted into Ichigo the thought of his Bankai's not broken, that didn't magically repair his Bankai. It didn't magically repair the apple slice. Alright? Orihime still needed to fix it, but the way I look at it in that perspective is, Yhwach had complete dominion over the future. He says, Tensa Zangetsu's broken. It's going to be broken an hour from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. That's why Orihime couldn't fix it, because it's already locked in that it was broken in the future, so you can't fix it because it's already going to be broken. It's kind of fucking metaphysical and it messes with your head, but that was basically Yhwach's power. But since Tsukishima changed it, he's like, alright, it's no longer set in stone, it's still broke, but the future is unknown. The future is not set in stone anymore. You can change it now. The same way you can always change your fate. You know, like, am I going to take a drink of this water right now? No, I'm not. Am I going to move my microphone to the left? I am. Okay? Is Tensa Zangetsu going to be broken a few minutes from now? Well, Orihime's power makes it so it isn't. That still has major fucking problems, though, because the whole thing with Mayuri, like, once a Bankai's broken, it can never be fixed. Unless you're Orihime and Tsukishima, apparently. That's the ultimate combo. You know. But, you know, we're getting near the end of the series now. I don't really care about that whole Bankai can't be broken. I'm like, whatever. We knew we were going to have problems. We knew there was going to be stuff that was going to be kind of like... I wouldn't call this an ass pull, but you knew there was going to be things where Kubo was going to stretch it at certain points. So, to put it in 20 words or less, to give you like an abridged version, Tsukishima's Fullbring, Book of the End, is the perfect counter for Yhwach's almighty power. Take that, you can rage over that, you can call it an ass pull, you can blah blah blah. That's what we're doing now. Now, I mean, there's been theories about this, like Yhwach's ability is to manipulate the future. Tsukishima's ability is to manipulate the past. I thought that, I mean, I didn't want to believe it, but I guess that sort of made sense to me. It's just that I find a little bit of problem with the scale difference, you know? Yhwach, father of all Quincy's, ultimate, you know, 8 fucking god, can absorb the Soul King's power, has the Mimihage, has the almighty power, knows all these crazy advanced Quincy techniques, been around for thousands of fucking years. His power seems kind of like omnipresent. Oh, but then you have Tsukishima, normal-ass human being, like 20-something years old, with a smattering of hollow powers on him, you know, with the Fullbring. Oh man, what else? Suspenders! Yeah, you will feel the power of my suspenders. I picked this shit up for like $15 at Walmart. Yeah! Screw you, Yhwach. Now, Fullbring is derived from hollow powers. More specifically, the mother of a Fullbring user attacked by a Hollow, and the Hollow's Ryatsu permeates into the fetus, and you're born with like a smattering of Hollow powers. You're not like half Hollow or anything. You just have some Hollow-based abilities, and you can kind of develop them into your own tastes and shit. It's like I would say it's like you're 3/4 human, and then the other 25% is Hollow powers, and you can kind of guide them. Because like Tsukishima was really attached to his bookmark, and that's what his thing comes from. Chad was proud of his mestizio blood, and he got his, Brazo Derecho del Gigante shit. So, yeah, so Hollow powers are the antithesis to Quincy powers. Where we begin, Uryu, but, we're not talking about Uryu right now. That's something else. I'll touch upon that in the actual review. So, I do find that a little bit hard to believe. Just for the most part, a human with just these extra powers has the perfect counter to Yhwach. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't mean it's a guaranteed victory. Okay, Ichigo's got his fucking Bankai back. Now, I don't know if there's no limit to what Tsukishima can do here. If Tsukishima can cut him again and be like, you didn't lose all your powers. In that situation, though, like Zangetsu, it didn't magically repair itself just because Ichigo had the memory implanted in him. Just because Tsukishima implants the memory into him, like, you didn't lose all your powers, his powers aren't going to just magically get ripped out of Yhwach and appear back into Ichigo. Which, by the way, if he had his Shinigami and Hollow powers ripped out of him, and Quincy powers, then how the hell is he still able to even use a Bankai? Yeah, like I said, we're going to be stretching the line pretty damn thin coming up. There's something else I wanted to bring up to this. So Tsukishima, that's still just one guy, though. So he'll be able to fix up probably Renji's Zanpakuto 2 and everything, but you walk through the portal, Yhwach's there, if he takes out Tsukishima, you're fucked. Like, Tsukishima's, I guess his power, if he managed to directly, like, stab Yhwach and implant different memories on him, that might fuck up the whole, like, that might be like putting a virus in the damn computer and the whole thing just gets corrupted. I don't know if Kubo's going to go down that route. I don't know if he did. I don't know if he only had Tsukishima show back up to be, like, the healing item, to be like, alright, we're going to have Tsukishima show up, give Ichigo back his Bankai, and then we're just going to move on from there, and Tsukishima's really not going to be, important after that. Yeah. But, does that make sense to you at all? I'm trying to make this, make some sort of logical sense. I wanted to sit down and, like, write notes about it. Now, I'm going to have some visual aids when I do the review. I'm going to do, like an abridged version of this video and just kind of do, like, a brief, overview with some visual aids and shit. But, yeah. Yhwach's power is only all-powerful if he can see the whole track of fate before him. Tsukishima's power alters just one thing, whole thing comes crumbling down, and Yhwach doesn't have ultimate control over that particular path, though. But it's kind of like an exercise of fertility. It's just like Yhwach uses his almighty powers again. Oh, Tsukishima stabs him. Oh, alright, well, I can see the new track, so I'll do this. I'll stab you again. Like, is this just going to be fucking ridiculous shit? Where it's like, Tsukishima's just around, like, behind Ichigo, like, constantly fucking stabbing him, like, alright, this track of fate has changed, this track of fate, it just never ends. Like, I don't think that's what that's the only way I can say to make this, be a consistent thing, because Yhwach still has the power. But I have a theory about Uryu and how Hat's going to actually be the nail on Yhwach's coffin, but we're going to get into that in the review. I just know a lot of people were confused by this, and I don't even know if this explanation is perfect, but I just wanted to, get this out there before the actual review so we're not, like, bogging that down later. Thank you guys for watching. What are your opinions on this? Maybe if you give me your thoughts, maybe I might change my mind a little bit, and I might mention it different in the review. I think this is a little bit confusing, I feel like maybe if Kubo had more time on his hands to work with this, he might have explained this a little bit better. Because it was really only explained in, like, one panel. Where it was like, Tsukishima stabs Ichigo, and he's like, Orihime, you should be able to fix it now, because I changed the past of fate. I added it's not broken into it, so you should be able to fix it now. I feel like Kubo would have explained it a little bit better. Would have added, like, at least a few more panels. Maybe if he's not so pressed for time. Maybe he would have, maybe he wouldn't have. Right, so just leave a comment below on what you think. I don't know when the review will be out, although I have to say that I'm taking a massive load off my shoulders by doing this video right now. Like, this is seriously helping me out. I don't have to sit there standing up and, worry about, oh man, I have to explain this now and it's going to take so damn long. I'm glad I have this video out now. Do you guys like this? This may be not really a live reaction, but maybe just a brief overview, like a preemptive discussion on the review before the actual review comes out, before the actual chapter's review, because we're on the final stretch now, so I might make this a regular thing now. I mean, just like if I'm like strapped for time and I don't have time to get the review out, I might just do like a brief discussion like this before we get to the actual review to give you guys something to work with. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm gonna stab myself with Book at the End now and make it so I made this video like a year ago, kind of like the Nozarashi Yachiru thing, where it's like, I made the video, I'm a genius. Everyone think I called it like a year in advance. Let's do this. Book of the End.